Well, Darryl, not the happiest day at the office. Let's put it that way. How would you sum things up?
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought we just gave way too much away in the first half, which was the sort of game really. I felt like we started pretty well. We get into good field position. We drop the ball at the play of the ball, which is just you just can't do it against Wigan. Those sort of things, So I think we'd won the first sort of battle really. So I thought our attitude was great at the start, and our defensive resolve was great at the start. But it sort of they got us with a couple of kick tries, which is sort of smart play from them. Max gets held up at a play of the ball and they shift it, and difficult to defend against both the first two tries. But we just kept giving things away, so either we're giving penalties away at the ruck, or we another play the ball error. I think we were 57% completion in the first half. They're 91% territory first half. If you're going to win a game against Wigan, you aren't doing it with those sort of stats. So, yeah, I just thought we were poor. We're just talking about in the change rooms about what we do to get ourselves connected back up and get individual. So I think individual players got to play well to enable the team to play well. And there's no point in putting your hand up if you've dropped the ball to play the ball. It's happened, hasn't it? So, and I think there's just too much of that from us. Basic stuff that. We've come back from that break way too loose, and I just think we're game shy. If I'm honest, I think we've gone from week off game. I just think it's not ideal to be honest, and I don't think it's helped us. So we've got to find our way out of that now. We're playing some consecutive games. We've got Huddersfield next week. It's a pretty key game for us. So. Not great today. Bit of perspective applied, I think, of where we come from, where we're at, and it's all about we'll learn some lessons, but then what you're going to do next, and what does the next 4 weeks look like? That's it, because you can talk about this till the cows come on, but coming in and winning is pretty tough. Always has been, always will be. But what next? What we're going to do over the next 4 weeks? Because that'll define where our season is. You know what I mean? So we're not going to start getting rattled too much by this, because I thought they were really good today, and I thought we were really poor. So that about sums it up, I think.
You mentioned that disruption that you've had over the course of the last sort of 3 weeks or so. Has it made it more difficult that that's happened at this stage of the season, where you're now coming into some more high-intensity games?
Well, yeah, but it happened, didn't it? There's not a lot we can do. I mean, Wigan had the same time off as us, but then we didn't play a game in Salford. You know what I mean? So it's sort of impacts on players being tuned in. But it is what it is. It's happened. We didn't know that Salford were going to do what they did. There's nothing we can do about that. And we had our feet up for another weekend, and even though we tried to train hard, it's not the same, is it? You're not tuned in. So, I mean, you don't know whether that's the case, but yeah, I mean, it certainly looks like it to me, to be honest. And we've just got to find our way out of it. And next week's a pretty important game for us now.
Errors, penalties, 6 agains, goal line dropouts in that first period. Yeah. It was always tough to come back from that. Was there a way back from that, or against a team like
not when you concede next. I think there's always a way back, because we kicked the penalty, our only points. We kicked the penalty. I mean, we're generally a pretty dangerous attacking team, but I thought we were pretty toothless today, to be honest. Really lateral, and so there's always a way back, because if you score next and it's 18-8, then that's completely different, isn't it? But we didn't, and I just never felt like our mentality was good enough to reel Wigan back in, because they don't concede a lot of points generally. You've got to play really well, and you've got to put them under pressure, but they haven't been under pressure all night anyway. You know what I mean? They took the 3 best players off in the end. Taking the mickey. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? So I was saying to the boys, what are you going to do about it? That's ultimately what's important now.
You had Max Jowett hobbling in that first half as well. Did he recover fully from that?
Yeah, he seemed all right. I mean, he's walking about okay now. So yeah, we'll see. We've got a couple of boys that are fresh next week. Potentially make some changes to the team and sharpen and freshen us up. And I think the boys need to be on the toes a little bit. I think it's important now that we respond to what's happened to us last couple of performances, which have been way off what we need. Because if we get into the 6, it's a one game experience, isn't it? And I just think we've got to find a different level. And at the minute, it's probably 3 or 4 levels, which we know, and we've been there previously. We beat Leeds in a really intense game at home before we had that break. I just don't think we've come out of the break well. So you check our flip flops on and get the studs back out, I think.
Just last one from me. Is there potential at all for a promoted team, long grind of Super League, get to round 22, 23 and it all starts picking up a bit?
Yeah, I don't know, because you can say that, you can say that the week's off, you can say it's just a natural drop off. I don't know. It's like, we can sort of talk about all sorts of things, and you will never know. It's just us having an opinion, really. So. But ultimately, I feel like we're into playing again now, and we've just got to find a groove. We've just got to find a groove for ourselves, which time will tell. Time will tell. But it's there. 4 games left. 1 point behind Hull. They've got a couple of tough games. We've got a run in that if we play well, then we can do well within. But I just feel a bit Warrington today. It's you're not taking anything for granted. Nothing is given to you. We're the promoted team, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're the team that's trying to prove ourselves. So let's prove ourselves over the next 4 weeks.
Thanks, Tom.
Just one for me on the either I've had with Lachlan Walms. I think he got a yellow card. Do you think he maybe could have been more?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I can't get into that. I mean, there's a couple there, eyes shots that don't get picked up. There's one on the video ref where you probably clearly hits him with the shoulder on Griff's head, but I don't get into that. I can't argue about anything today when we've served up that performance. I just think it's down to us.
Dario, you mentioned perspective. At the start of the season, maybe Wigan away isn't a game you circle on the calendar as one you think you're going to win as much as you improve this season. Is perspective now the key in terms of going into these last four games against perhaps more favourable fixtures? Yeah,
I think that. I just think, but I also think. I mean, all have got a little bit more experience than us, obviously. But I think they're being a bit grittier than us. They go to St Helens and they don't. They nearly have a chance to get something out of that game. And I just think we've got to step up. We've got to step up our durability and toughness and. But there is a perspective there, 100%. I just think some of our players are experiencing new things every week, and we've got some players who've been there before. But as a unit, this is our first. It's like there's 6 players who haven't played here before, example. And it is what it is. Next time you're here, you go, all right, yeah, I remember that. Well, it was pretty tough, and you put it in the memory bank. So, look, we're learning and growing, and we're not playing well at the moment. But that doesn't mean to say that the next game we're not going to. It's things flip pretty quickly, and we can get back on track next week. Be a tough challenge for us, but it's there for us. It's there for us if we can make it happen. And we need to play better than we did today to make anything happen against any team in Super League, I think.
Just a couple of injury checks. Caius came off and was struggling, and I don't think he got back on.
No, he's a bit of an Achilles, yeah, but I don't think it's too bad, and we'll check him during the week, but yeah, should be all right.
Mason at the end obviously got a green card, but got back on, so he assumes.
Yeah, one of our players, I think Stov's trying to knock him out. Green card, yeah. There's another one. Griff came off with a bit of a strain to his knee. He's walking around in there. He's potentially be out next week, but we'll see.